Welcome to Guyana 411. This week we take a look at youths and initiatives and programs aimed at improving their lives. Stay tuned. Charity begins at home. Special focus will be placed on nurturing the home and environment so as to give children, youths and their parents a better chance to become meaningful citizens.
Measures to improve the quality of youth's lives were among those highlighted during the recently concluded 2016 budget debates. Some of these initiatives will see greater involvement of institutions which offer technical, vocational, and education training. The enhancement of youths, however, must begin with the home. Thus, it was acknowledged that the family unit needs to be targeted as a foundation institution. It is the aim of the coalition government that efforts must be made to realize this.
Broken families will produce broken youths who often cannot find employment and sometimes engage in delinquent behavior. Through the probation department, the ministry is working with several partners on the option of alternative sentencing for first-time offenders so that we can rehabilitate instead of condemn youths to penal institutions, and that is new.
The minister added that training schemes will now be provided to help parents and other caregivers improve their parenting skills. There will also be a renewed focus on the protection of children and youths with a $471 million amount allocated for this purpose.
This is money intended to help us target child abuse, especially sexual abuse. Introduce a teen prevention pregnancy program, that's new. Launch a campaign about child protection and implement the early childhood development program that will include licensing of daycare facilities. It also includes infrastructure works at the various buildings which house operations of the key agency. Emphasis will be placed on deinstitutionalizing many of the 700 plus children in formal care. For every child in Guyana belongs to a family, whether biological, foster, or adoptive. And so we will work, sir, to find families for these children.
The challenge of child abuse in the society will see a proactive approach being taken with a campaign which will be launched later in 2016.
We want to cut a covenant with all communities in Guyana, and perhaps we can start here today, to be more proactive for our children and protect them. Through this covenant, the public will be educated on the destruction to the health and well-being of a child who is a victim of abuse and neglect.
The intention of the coalition government is to lay the foundation for youths to become productive members of society. This can only be done by ensuring that they get the right start from their homes as far as is possible.
Over 1,000 Indigenous youths will benefit from skills training through the Hinterland Employment and Youth Services HAZE project. This program is designed to equip them with skills of their choice and an opportunity to earn as they learn.
Indigenous youth, especially young women, will now have a chance to learn a skill and take up leadership roles in their communities as the HAZE project will be rolled out in the hinterland. Through this program, young people will be trained and certified in areas such as garment construction, carpentry, joinery, entrepreneurship, tourism, agriculture, craft, designing, event planning, and remedial mathematics and English language. It will entail 6 months each of classroom and practical training.
To eliminate poverty and develop our indigenous communities, to maintain expensive equipment and infrastructure, and not continue the previous government's trend of wasting our taxpayers' money, we need to train our indigenous young people.
Yes.
We need to start preparing them for the world of work.
A career.
We need to prepare them to be young entrepreneurs.
Oh, yes.
We need to prepare our young people for leadership roles in their communities. And this, I'm proud to say, is what our government, through the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs, will be doing.
Yes.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, our ministry has already started in this direction. And I'm happy to say that the Hinterland Employment and Youth Service was launched in October 1, 2015 in Paramakatoy in the North Pacaramas, Region 8.
This year, close to $1 billion was budgeted for the project, which is currently being rolled out in Paramakatoy, Mountain Foot, Bamboo Creek, Monkey Mountain, Tusining, and Turuko in Region 8. The training is being supervised by the village councils in collaboration with the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs.
This one-year program entails 6 months of classroom training, 4 contact hours per day from Monday to Friday, and 6 months of practical training under mentorship. Youths are entitled to $30,000 per month, of which $10,000 will be saved and which they will receive at the end of the course. Through collaborative training with a Skype project, a USAID initiative, they will also have the opportunity to develop viable business plans and will benefit from a startup grant of $50,000. Youths will also have the opportunity to proceed to further training if they so wish. Mr. Speaker, I visited Paramakatoy in late November 2015, almost 2 months after HAZE was launched, and it was a joy to see what the garment construction class produced. They were so proud of their work, and I was proud of them.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Mr. Speaker, it is a testimony to the APNU AFC government's commitment to the rounded development and empowerment of our Indigenous youth across the 10 regions of this country, that in this 2016 budget, $997 million is provided for support to youth education through the Hinterland Employment and Youth Service.
This program is a fulfillment of a promise made by the government when the Youth Entrepreneurship and Apprenticeship Program was terminated in 2015.
The Hinterland Youth Employment was launched. Budget 2016 will make possible the massive explosion of the program across Guyana's hinterland. Our young people are no longer part of a young political brigade. They are being prepared to face the challenges of the world and make successful men and women of themselves. Not to be beggars, not to say at the end of 2-3 years of spending good money to say we don't know what to do. They must be able to say, thank you for training me. I'm now moving on. I have a job.
This new engagement will allow students to enroll in institutions such as the Guyana School of Agriculture, the Kurukuru Cooperative College, and other institutions of higher learning. Participants will also have the opportunity to develop viable business plans, which will be awarded grants for startup. Meanwhile, in order to support hinterland education, $10 million was allocated for the design of a new dormitory at Linendal. The new structure will accommodate students with interest in enrolling in institutions of higher learning on the coast. Additionally, there will also be support to the Bean Hill Institute and the procurement of buses for the transportation of school children.
Guyanese youths will be given the chance to become creative, skilled, ambitious, and qualified, says Minister within the Ministry of Education, Nicolette Henry.
Minister Henry noted that government is committed to building a youth population that can give back to their communities and country.
All of us on the government side envision building a youth population that is united, educated, trained, happy, healthy, and competent to play an integral role in making critical decisions for our country. Mr. Speaker, the measures in this budget are only the first step aimed at creating an environment to ensure the aforesaid is realized so as to ultimately create politically, economically, and socially empowered young people. Mr. Speaker, this budget is aimed at empowering our young people. There are many measures that will create employment and opportunities for our youth. To this end, the Finance Minister noted that having consulted with the youth of Guyana, I want to let them know that I have listened attentively to them. I consider their requests, and in addition to the millions allocated within various sectors to support youth development, we will work to establish a more permanent structure for entrepreneurship and micro-lending for persons under age 30 as a special youth investment fund.
Minister Henry explained that over the last 2 decades, youths across Guyana have been falling out of the education system. This has resulted in many of them lacking the skills needed to become productive individuals. Hence, Minister Henry noted that the 2016 budget makes provision for youths to be trained.
This has created a situation where our young people are not only disorganized in some cases, but in many instances, they also lack the basic skills needed to contribute to the advancement of self, family, community, and this country. Mr. Speaker, as I said, many of our young people, both within and outside of the formal system, lack the requisite skills to propel them to higher engagements. Mr. Speaker, it is for this reason that this budget makes provision for them to be trained, so that we can develop a cadre of well-trained young people who are able to return to their communities and provide leadership to other young people. Mr. Speaker, this is a clear signal that the APNU-AFC government not only cares about the youth, but is acting to bring our vision to reality.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, we believe that the youth need direction. They need advice and counseling. And the best people to do that is the youth themselves, who are well-trained and involved in youth development. Mr. Speaker, this government believes it is critical that suitable youth organizations be formed, existing ones be reinvigorated, encouraged, and developed further, and that we train a core of young leaders who can lead these organizations and the youth to ensure development of self, community, and country.
The National Youth Policy has been completed following consultations with Guyanese youths, international community, and other stakeholders. Further, the youth section of the ministry is currently working to complete the National Youth Empowerment Action Plan. According to the minister, last year only 350 out of 950 applicants received training at the Kurukuru Training Center. It is against this background that the budget makes provision to upgrade and rehabilitate a number of training centers.
We have allocated $60 million for the rehabilitation of college and workshop to transform it into a training center with workshop and other training facilities. Mr. Speaker, this signals the government's intention to provide a conducive and comfortable environment for young people to gain skills which can lead to their empowerment. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we have allocated a sum of $30 million to improve the facilities at Kurukuru Training Center located on Soosdijk-Linden Highway.
Minister Henry also noted that the ground enhancement program has been reviewed. The sum of $154 million was allocated to enhance grounds across the country. A phased approach will be taken to ensure that all the grounds are of a quality standard so that youths can be gainfully employed in their spare time.
The Ministry of Public Health has been allocated a significant sum to address issues affecting the youth population, particularly teenage pregnancy and suicide. The Ministry of Public Health will continue to robustly address the issue of teenage pregnancy. The ministry has committed to ensuring that pregnant teens continue to benefit from comprehensive teen-focused prenatal and antenatal care programs.
The ministry will continue with its antenatal clinics for teenage mothers with emphasis on teen-focused programs that address issues such as increasing the use of contraception to prevent subsequent pregnancies. The programs will also provide nutritional counseling, teach parenting skills, encourage continued education, and identify available resources.
As part of the many new interventions for 2016 by the Ministry of Public Health, youth-friendly spaces will be created and youths would be encouraged to attend youth-friendly fora.
We have a societal responsibility to protect our children and young people, particularly those at risk of experiencing mental health distress. Raising awareness and prevention through education is a vital part of we at the Ministry of Public Health will become involved in. The area of focus listed needed the commitment of every person and institution represented here today. We need to create a tidal wave of support and policies that will effectively deal with the issues identified. As the Ministry of Public Health, we believe that suicide is preventable and that suicide prevention works. In order to accomplish our mission and goals, we will be using the public health model mentioned earlier, along with the media campaigns and education to raise awareness of suicide. We will be utilizing a strong educational approach to dispel the myths about suicide and let others know about the realities surrounding the national public health crisis.
With regard to the issue of suicide, the Ministry is actively engaging all the relevant stakeholders, including civil society, to create interventions to deal with the issue. Of recent, a number of youths have ended their lives by suicide.
Physically large, developmentally Guyana, we are a relatively small country with very small population. Therefore, to consider the beautiful country having the highest suicide rate in the world is frightening as it is much worrying. Our people in relation to our population are taking their lives at an alarming rate. This situation needs to be arrested immediately. Recent studies have shown that the most vulnerable areas and groups as well as most preferred methods utilized by persons to commit suicide. The government has decided in order to combat this scourge of suicide, a national effort is required and has therefore engaged in a number of ministries. It must be multi-sectoral. It must be, we cannot do it. It's everybody's business. Yes.
A protocol to provide guidance to primary healthcare workers on what should be done to assist the mentally challenged will be developed as one of the several other interventions. A counselor and social worker will also visit each health facility at least once a week. The Ministry of Public Health also has an active program aimed at addressing the needs of the adolescent population. For the effective execution of its programs, the ministry continues to be guided by Health Vision 2020. Young people will be able to own their own homes through government's expanding housing drive, with C's focus being placed on ensuring that young people acquire a home.
In the past month, the Central Housing and Planning Authority has conducted 2 public day exercises, the first in Berbice and the other in Linden. Dozens of single parents and young professionals benefited from allocation and reallocation of land during the exercises through the beginning of the process of having the criteria for land ownership changed.
I applied in 2008. I have never been acknowledged with a letter to say they acknowledge my application. However, I'm here today. I brought the question to the minister, and she assured me that a lot was being allocated to me at Glasgow Housing Scheme.
Coming to this meeting with the minister, the housing minister, well, I'm happy because I applied for land in 2009 and I got response in 2012. And now that I'm able to reach the minister, she able to give me a land that is affordable, and I'm happy and I'm thankful.
In the past, many young Guyanese were unable to acquire a home as they failed to meet the criteria of being married and having children. This changing criteria for home ownership will better position young people to plan their lives. This will ensure that more of them have a better opportunity to own a home.
We tell our young people that they can get married at 18. They can obtain a driver's license at 18. And they can vote at 18.
Yes.
But they cannot own a piece of house lot at 18.
What?
They have to be 21 and over.
Wow.
This is what I term a Stone Age policy. Well, I am here to let the young people know
Yes.
that the disrespect will be over.
Yes.
And this AP and UASC government will change every policy that disregard our young people.
The new mandate of the Central Housing and Planning Authority of building cohesive communities will see young people now benefiting from serviced lots, which guarantees that they can begin to build as soon as they receive their lots.
We are not about handing out house lots, some of which can't even be accessed.
Yes.
I have met people in Linden who receive allocations in the Millers Ward. I've met people in Berbice who receive allocations. I've met people in Georgetown who have not seen the house lot because they can't get near to it. There is no access road to take them, and 2 years they have been allocated. So we are not in the business of handing out house lots.
Bushes.
Our goal remains to provide service lots, access, electricity and water.
Government, in forging ahead with its program of establishing cohesive communities, sees youth as an asset, a human resource to be developed. Hence, it is eager for its young people to realize the dream of home ownership.
Thanks for watching Guyana 411. Do join us again next week. Remember, you can contact us on Facebook or YouTube. Remember, say no to alcohol, no to drugs, no to suicide, and stay positive.